Tonight's class is Align. Not really going to be any flow. We'll move from pose to pose. If you feel like you need to put vinyasas in, you're welcome to do that. I'm not going to teach them. And the theme tonight is it's going to be some repetition. We're going to do most of the poses more than once, and sometimes we might do them twice, and we'll try them in 2 different alignments, just to see how it affects your body. I can't see you, so be your own advocate. If something hurts, know when to back off. There will be some core work in this class, so expect some discomfort. Grab your water, hydrate as needed, breaks as needed, and make your way to your yoga mat. We're gonna start in hands and knees. So I'm gonna put my blanket down. And you're going to take your left hand, if you can, flip it so your left fingers face your left knee. That might not be accessible to you tonight, especially if you've been doing a lot of typing. So turn your left hand out to the left as much as you can. It might only be 90 degrees or so. And then you're going to extend your right arm out to the right. Look at it with your with your eyeballs. And then when you bring the right hand down, rotate the wrist as much as you can to the right. Keep the elbows straight but not locked out. And then left arm is going to open up to the left. Follow the arm with your gaze. And then when you bring the left hand back down, bring it to more of a neutral position. So that's going to be our pattern. So root down on the left side, open the right arm out to the right, look at the right fingertips, and then right hand comes back to standard position, fingers facing away from you. Left arm lifts up, look at it, open up your thoracic spine, and then as you lower the left hand down, externally rotate the left arm, turn the left fingers somewhere abnormal. Right arm open and replace. So I'll let you move through that pattern with your own breath. Notice how short or long your stance is on the mat. How much tension is in your wrists. How much stability and strength is in your arms. Maybe the pattern becomes a little more easy, a little more familiar. And if you're like me and sometimes you forget which way your hand's supposed to go, no big deal. Also the benefit of having to repeat things. Couple more rounds. And take as many more as you need to come back to neutral with hands facing forward, hips stacked over the knees. I have to get rid of this hair. Feel yourself in neutral as you land there. What is it like to be still? And then from hands and knees, tuck the toes under. Let your knees hover off the yoga mat. If this is too much on your wrists or your arms, you can lower the knees down to the yoga mat. And then keep the knees bent, lift the hips up as if you were gonna go to downward facing dog, but it's short and the knees are bent. Press down through the hands. Go ahead and lower yourself back down to where you started. Knees touch or knees hover. And then short down dog. Root through your heels. Feel the sit bones. Press back to where the ceiling and the wall behind you meet. Maybe some of you are outside. And then gaze forward, glide forward, shoulders over wrists. With your own breath. Find the pace that works for you. It might feel goofy in this short stance. Notice what's working in the legs. And then, as you're ready, child's pose. Plank pose. Knees can absolutely come down with me. Let's do big toes together in your plank. And then you're going to push yourself back to a child's pose where your knees are going to hover. So knees move out wide, butt moves back, heart forward. And then glide forward to plank, knees up or down. Use your core, press yourself back, hovering child's pose, and repeat a few times. Find a pace that works for you. Maybe it's slow, maybe it's fast. And then land in either child's pose or down dog. Feel your breath where you landed. And is where you landed familiar or unfamiliar? Could be both also. You're going to let your heels drop to your left. Maybe you come up onto the right finger pads. Maybe it feels better to keep that right hand down. One is not more intense than the other. You're just getting some side stretch. Work through the left arm. Hug the left shoulder blade in towards your back. Go ahead, come back to center, heels high. Let the heels rock over to the right. Peer under your left armpit. Root down through the right hand. Squeeze the right shoulder blade in and up towards your spine. It's like you thought about going to side plank and then changed your mind. Down dog. Left leg up behind you. Look forward. Left foot by the left thumb. Swivel the right heel down. You're going to bring yourself around to lunge dog. So walk the arms off at an angle. It's like warrior 2 feet. Try to get buns high, heart low. Watch your breath. Notice it. Widen the upper inner left thigh. So it comes along, or it lines up with the long edge of your yoga mat. Go ahead and walk your hands to the inside of your left leg. Swivel your right heel up. I'm grabbing my blanket. Go ahead, lower your right knee down to into the yoga mat. Blocks under your hands as needed. You're going to sweep the left arm all the way out to the left. If this is enough for you, stay right here. Remember, we're going to do this sequence again. If you like, take a quad stretch, kicking the right foot in towards the left hand. If you're already warm, and it feels appropriate for you, you can start to bend that right elbow down to the ground. I'm going to stay up a little bit higher. Squeeze that right heel into the glute if you've caught the right foot. Feel your breath here. Armpits back, head back. Gently release the right foot if you've caught it. Bring your hands to the inside of your left leg. Lizard pose. If you need more stretch on the left leg, start to lower left and right forearms down to the yoga mat. You might notice that my right side of my torso wants to droop down and the left side wants to lift up. Try to temper that. You can even lift up onto the right finger pads. Find a little squareness. Think about buns lifting high. And then scooch that right knee in so it's actually right under the right hip. So it's just lizard pose a different way. Arms your way. Pressing down into the left foot. Tuck the right toes under. Wide-legged forward fold, moving towards your right. Heels along the long edge of your yoga mat so you know that they're on the same line. Feet either parallel, a little bit pigeon-toed, and fold over the legs as much as you can. This first time, find an arm position that works for you. Maybe you grab the outsides of your ankles. Pull up on the kneecaps and the quads so they're firm. Press down through the feet. If all of the stretch is right behind your knee, bend the knees a little bit, get the sit bones up higher to the sky. If you can, maybe even widen your feet to do it, lower your head so it touches the yoga mat. Mine's not going to touch. I'm going to take my blanket and give my head something to rest on. You're breathing even though you're upside down. Feel the shape of the pose on your body and how your inner body feels in the shape. Walk the fingertips forward to come to like a halfway lift shape. So now the pelvis is in neutral. Well, more neutral. Obviously your torso is moving forward. So without doing it, think about what it was like to fold, and you can watch me if you want. The hip creases deepen, and there's more of a round in the low back. And then neutral, it's almost like you're doing that same stretch we started with in hands and knees. Almost like if you could find some cow pose in the upper back here. All right, go ahead, walk yourself back around to the top of your yoga mat. Down dog. Heels over to the right. Shoulders safe, so engage the arm muscles. Heels over to the left. Heels back to center. Look forward, lift the right leg up. Right foot by the right thumb. Swivel the left heel down. Right hip, right knee, right toes all pointing in the same direction. And walk your arms off at an angle for lunge dog. Breathe. And with that front leg, see if you can soften the inner thigh. Press and firm the outside of the right thigh. So if you squeeze the right butt, that might assist in that action. Mindfully, lizard pose, swivel the left heel up, lower left knee down to a blanket or the yoga mat. Pause. Feel where your right thigh bone enters your pelvis. Do you need to adjust the angle of the right foot to find some steadiness there? And start to open the right arm out to the right, and maybe you catch the back foot. If you've caught the foot, really try to squeeze it in, closer to the left glute. If just catching it is enough, be there. Throat back, collarbones broad. Bending the left elbow if you need that extra sensation. Feeling twist in the torso, feeling quad stretch on the left leg, even if the foot is down on the yoga mat. No slingshot, gently release the left leg. Lizard pose, arms down inside the right leg. Firmly press the right foot down into the yoga mat. Find length in your spine, so feel from tailbone to crown of the head. Just like you did in your lunge dog, firm the outer right thigh. Find a little softness on the inner right thigh. And that's not to say that sometimes we don't tell you to do the opposite and squeeze the inner thighs. It's just this is how we're doing it today. Scooch the left knee in so it's underneath your left hip. So you've got like two 90-degree angles in both knees. And then lower the chest any amount. You can also simply bend elbows, almost like you're doing a chaturanga. Blocks are good here. Notice what's happening in your body. Feel what's happening. And then start to lift yourself up. This time when we spin to the left edge of your yoga mat, you're gonna come up to standing but wide-legged. We're gonna do this in the reverse of the way we did it before. So, maybe you want your feet a little bit wider than you normally do. Try something on differently. Hands at the hips, elbows squeeze back. Get really long from tailbone to crown of the head. So your outer shin muscles hug in, widen the inner thighs side to side. Okay, I'm getting a cramp in my left leg, which is telling me that it needs to be readjusted. Subtle cues. And then start to, just like you're doing cow pose, hinge forward at the hip. Pull up on the kneecaps, find length in the spine. So there might even be some extension in the spine here. And then pass through neutral, flex and fold in the spine. If you liked putting your head on something, do it. Find where you've landed and breathe there. You can even bend your elbows out to the left and right to fold a little bit deeper. Look forward, hands in front of you, lengthen the spine. Hands to hips. Use your core to lift yourself up. Swivel around to the front of your yoga mat, downward facing dog. In this down dog, take your left hand to the edge of the long edge of your yoga mat, and your right hand to the right long edge of your yoga mat. And as you root back through your legs, pull the yoga mat forward. If you're on some other surface, I apologize. Just do regular down dog. Neck is long but not strained. Hands back to down dog standard. Left leg lifts up behind you. Look forward, left foot by the left thumb. Lunge dog, swivel the right heel down. Press down into the hands, feel the buns move back. Your head is most likely not going to touch the floor here. Mine is at least a foot away. But remember that feeling of lowering. What's happening in the hips. Walk your hands back to center. Swivel the right heel up, right knee down. Open the right shoulder to the right a little bit. Sweep the left arm back. Maybe you catch the left foot in the left hand. You can start to bend elbows away from one another. Gently release right foot. Hands to the inside of the left leg for lizard pose. Find almost that cow shape you found before here in the spine, that extension. Scooch the right knee in so it's underneath your right hip. Lower down a little bit more. So maybe you're a little bit more bent elbows. Find that spot of not too much, not too little. Your body's not freaking out and saying, oh no, I've gone way too far. But It's not so easy that you're bored. All right, wide-legged standing, swiveling heels to your right. Hands come to your hips this time. Feel free to put a big bend in your knees if you're one of those people that tends to lock them out. Hinge forward at the hip. Bend the right knee, shift the hips towards the back edge of your yoga mat, so speed skater stretch. And then opposite side. And then start to move between the two. You can absolutely lower hands down to the ground if that gives you more of the stretch that you need. Move left and right with your own breath. Notice if there's a piece of this movement that you try to skip over or lift out of. Can you explore those places? A few more breaths here. We'll meet back in down dog, however you need to get there. If you're like me, the second the instructor tells us where we're going next, I just go. I kind of throw away the pose that I'm doing. Things you only notice with repetition. Once you find your down dog, settle in. If you like, grab the outer edges of your yoga mat, left hand to left edge, right hand to right edge. Bend the knees this time. You can do this even if you're not on the yoga mat. Hands down. Pull the yoga mat forward. Sit bones up and back. Find length. Find the right position for you and your neck. Core is engaged, not tuned out. And then down dog. Down dog with hands down. Right leg up. Notice if the left heel wants to fly up. See if you can press back through that left thigh bone. Look forward. Right hand to the outside of the, or right foot to the outside of the right hand. Swivel the left heel down. Arms over at an angle. Hips high, chest low. Feel your breath. And then go ahead, walk your hands to the inside of the right leg, lizard pose. Pad the back knee. Externally rotate your left shoulder. So not just the hand, but the whole left shoulder. Sweep the right arm back. Twist or twist and quad stretch. Feel the twist in your spine. Like for me, I feel it a lot more in the low back than the upper back, so I'm going to try to adjust that and untwist the low back and rotate the upper spine a little bit more. So sometimes that's lifting the left hip up a little bit more. Usually in this pose with the quad stretch or not, the left hip wants to sag down. Find some lift. And it actually feels more spacious and open in the upper back. Bend the elbows away from each other if you need more. And then feel the shape you found and how it lands in your body now that you've landed in the pose. Lizard when you're ready. Left foot returning down to the yoga mat. And with your hands, you can, whether you're on elbows or hands, whatever upper body extremity is on the ground. Pull the yoga mat back, stretch your chest forward. Notice what side of the rib cage wants to dip down. Left knee in underneath the left hip. Feel the hips lift up towards the sky and then lower down. My right hip is like, will you please stop stretching me? I've had enough today. Noticing the difference between discomfort and pain. And then wide-legged to the left side of your yoga mat, come up to standing. We can do speed skater stretch skandasana the same way we just did it. Some of you, it might be interesting to bend the left knee, lift that right hip, right knee, right toes up towards the ceiling, and lean over to the left. The left heel can stay down, that's harder. You can also lift the left heel up. You can also do this hands-free, but move left to right again a few times. And notice if you want to keep hips high in the middle or bring them low. No right or wrong. Just moving left and right, seeing what your body has to say about it. I know this pose for me has been one of my least favorites, like even when I used to dance as a kid. This always seemed so hard. And maybe even a little unnecessary. That's why I usually teach the hips high version. Couple more breaths where you are. If you feel like you need another wide-legged forward fold, do that so you have choice. Wide-legged forward folds, more hamstring stretch. You're getting more inner thigh in your speed skaters. Take your time getting to down dog. Do what you have to do. Check and see what's going on in the Facebook world. Hi. Okay. Remember, take breaks in child's pose whenever you need it. From your down dog, you're going to look forward, bend your knees, and either walk or jump feet to the hands. Feet about hips distance apart. Feel this fold in your body. We're going to do a halfway lift. So you're going to lift to a flat spine with your core muscles. You're going to let the fingertips hover. So, neutral spine, squeeze the shoulder blades together so that your fingertips don't necessarily touch the ground. And fold. Straightening the knees as much as you can without locking out. Halfway lift. Squeeze shoulder blades together on your back. Fold. Head drops. One more time, lift up, squeeze shoulder blades together on your back. Hands come to the hips, shoulders up, armpits back. Go ahead, lift yourself up to standing. Good. All right, eagle pose. I'm gonna do it 2 ways on both sides. So you get 4 eagles in tonight. Sounds like golf. Balance on your left foot. Cross your right ankle or right thigh over the top. You can always rest the right toes down on the yoga mat. You can let the right toes kind of float out to the side, or you can hook them behind and your peace toes will grab the back of the left ankle. Eagle arms, or cactus arms to eagle arms. So right arm underneath the left. You can always bring hands to shoulders. For this version of eagle, try to stay in neutral spine. So crown of the head stacked over the hips. There was a period of time where eagle really hurt my knees and I was getting really frustrated about it because I used to be able to hold it for much longer. It used to be easy. Come out of it as you're ready. Feel both feet on the ground. And I put eagle pose down for a couple months. I came back to it one day and it worked just fine. So sometimes repetition is good, but don't become obsessed with repetition. The body can become like a paper clip that gets only bent in one spot and it snaps. So, right foot down on the yoga mat, left leg up and over. Remember, left toes on block or yoga mat, great. Double rep can be good. Cactus arms. Left under the right. Hands can come to shoulders. Backs of the hands can touch. Palms can touch. Root through the right foot. Try to get crown of the head stacked over the hips. So you're probably pretty high. It's not your most compact yoga pose, most compact eagle pose. Try to look past your hands so you can balance. Come out of it as you're ready. I know if you're on carpet at home, that's really hard. So we're going to do eagle pose again. This time we're going to do it in flexion. So you can even feel it, like if you bend your knees, just like you're doing cow pose, navel back around the spine, and you want to like feel a lot of tone like in your waistband. And feel the navel move back. So there's a way we can do this. I can do cat-cow and just move my lumbar spine and never use my core. Or you can really become like concave by using your muscles. So going from neutral eagle, rounded eagle, but intentional rounded eagle. All right, balance on the, we'll do left foot down, right foot over. Arms out to the side, right under left. And then navel back round with your core muscles. You're gonna try to kiss your elbows to your thighs. And you could rest here once you found the balance, but keep thinking navel back. Using like those six-pack ab muscles. Come back to neutral. And then undo. And then other side. So right foot down. Root through the right leg, left leg up and over. Bend in the knees. Starting in neutral. Arms out to the sides. Left under right. Use your core like you're doing a crunch to connect elbows to thighs. You can get pretty low and squatty in the legs, like bend the right knee a lot. Puff up the back body. Back to neutral. Oh, undo. Okay, come to, let's do it this way. Come to sit. This is the one pose we won't repeat. We're just going to do left and right sides. You're going to take the right shin, smush it into your left calf, and sit back. There's really no right or wrong here. You should be pretty uncomfortable. Like, find the most irritating part of your calf to put all of your body weight on. And your legs might be a little eagle-ish here. It's reminiscent of that. You can play too with like, if I lean left or right, forward, back. Unravel. Maybe you need to give yourself a round of applause. Tap the feet onto the ground. And then right knee in front, left shin to the meaty part of your right calf. And then sometimes the second side's not as bad. Sometimes it's worse. So sit back as much as you can. Sit in that awkwardness. Maybe go hands free. Maybe you find somewhere you need to press a little bit more. Slowly unravel yourself. Do what you need to do to come onto your back. It's not Shavasana. Go ahead and lift the left leg up towards the sky. Hold behind the left thigh with your hands. If you have a strap, you can absolutely loop that around the left foot. This time we're looking for neutral spine. If you can't stay in neutral spine, with the left leg up, bend the right knee. And how you know if you're in neutral spine is you could just barely slide your hand underneath your low back. It's not compressed into the ground. And then see, as you flex the left foot, how far back can you pull the left leg towards your face, but still stay in neutral spine. You might actually have to accentuate the cow pose in the low back. You might have to create more space between your body and the yoga mat. And gently lower left leg down. Switch sides. Left knee bent or straight. Press through the right foot. See if you're neutral in the low back. Again, don't be afraid in this version of the pose to over accentuate that low back arch. You're not weight bearing, but again, that's coming from your core muscles and not just a crank of the pelvis and the vertebrae. And then the more you move your right foot towards your face, the more you have to find that low back arch. And release. All right, do it in flexion. So start in neutral, left leg up. Can point the toes or flex, up to you. Start to pull the left leg back, and this time, let the spine arch. So almost like you're doing Pilates, you can let the tailbone scoop up towards the ceiling. No space between your low back and the yoga mat. You can walk your hands up your left leg as much as is available to you. Just like we did in eagle pose, flexion. Waistband broadens, back body broadens, navel to spine. It's almost a scooping action in the pelvis. If you like, lift the right leg up. If you need more, stretch the arms forward and pause. You're in control of the pose is not in control of you. Scoop, broaden the back body, navel back, and gently lower arms overhead, lower slowly left leg down to meet the right. So remember, earlier we were looking for neutral, now we're looking for flexion, particularly in the low back. Right leg up. Left knee can still stay bent with left foot on the floor if you prefer. Right toes pointed or flex is up to you. Scoop out the low belly here. Press the low back against the yoga mat. Walk the hands up the right leg as much as you can. Use your core muscles to lift the head up off the yoga mat, if you like. Maybe the left toes, left heel lifts up off the yoga mat. Scoop, broaden the back body. Lift yourself up as much as you can. Keep yourself that high up. Float the arms forward. Think about drawing your elbows to your knee, just the same way you did in eagle pose. Left leg lowers down. Right arms overhead. Your spine is coming back to a more neutral shape, less flexed. And then your right leg, slow and controlled to meet the left. All right, bend the knees. Hug them into your chest, and then rock and roll, or come to one side, to make your way to downward facing dog. So you can roll over your knees. Walk your big toes to touch. Keep the hands where they are, bend the knees out to the sides. If you need a little bit of a break, you can actually let's all take a break. Let's do a child's pose. And take note of, and I'm not telling you which is right and which is wrong, take note of if your spine is more neutral or more flexion in your child's pose that you've landed in. Neither is right or wrong as long as we know we're there and we're doing it with intention and not out of habit. All right, from your child's pose, tuck the toes under, and you're going to walk your hands back and your hips are going to move back. So you're in squat with knees out to the sides, feet together. And you can really now let your hips sink back, so there's a lot of flexion in the spine. If you like, you can let your arms hands hold the sides of the yoga mat and pull forward. So your feet are drawing the yoga mat back. Inner thighs soften, outer thighs firm. Pull the yoga mat forward with your hands. Inner thighs soft, outer thighs firm. Rest. Replace the hands on the yoga mat. Bend the elbows. Draw the hands back, arms back until your shins and your elbows connect. And then start to rock forward and back. So the pelvis is going to lift up and lower down. And maybe you rock forward, look forward, and lift one or both feet. And if you only get up for a second or not at all, that's okay. It's this rocking motion. And just like we found in our eagle pose and that second version of our hamstring stretch on our back, there's a lot of rounding happening. Round, round, round. Look forward, forward, forward. And then take a break in child's pose. We have an extra minute, so I'm going to say, we probably won't repeat this one either, but come to a squat. So your squat could be up high, knees broadening, like inner thighs widening, knees away from one another, so pep talk pose, or start to lower hips down. I feel like we needed one more hip stretch for that one. If you need more of a challenge for your breath, lift your hips 1 inch up. And try shifting your weight here. We're gonna do that crow pose again in the same setup. If you have a different setup, like maybe coming right from Malasana here is better for you, you can do that. Pressing through your index and thumb knuckles will be very helpful. So like the L's of your hands here, press down through all of those knuckles. I promise it will help. All right, forward fold. Pull yourself in close. Spine is in flexion. Walk the toes to touch, feet touch. Sit the buns back, knees broaden side to side, stretch the arms forward. I'm not gonna grab the outer edges of the yoga mat this time, you can. And notice if when you've been somewhere before, like you're here for the second time, the mind starts to go like, okay, well, how am I gonna set this up? Just relax. Mindfully soften. And then start to slide elbows back until they connect with the shins. And then start to rock forward. Hips have to lift. Look forward, press through the index and thumb knuckles. Keep looking forward, you're pressing down. And if you want to rock a few times forward and back, maybe pausing and squat, you can do that. And whenever you're ready, come to seat, to your seat. And cross your right ankle over your left thigh. And let those legs sway. If this is a lot, you can do the same thing on your back. Flex the right foot. So you're one long line from right knee to right ankle. And switch sides. Feeling the movement left to right. And then both feet down onto the edges of your yoga mat. You're gonna sit up really super tall, so get a lot of length in your spine. You can flex your toes up, lift the chest up. Even I'm pulling against my shins to get more height. And then extend legs out long, roll onto your back of 4, Shavasana, final relaxation. And let your arms go if that's right for you. If the low back did not appreciate all that flexion and you want to be a little bit more on the safe side, come to constructive rest with feet down, knees up. Inhale, notice tension. Exhale, notice relaxation. Inhale, feel what's tense. Exhale, feel what's relaxed. Breathing in tension. Exhale and relaxation. Feel whole body tense. Feel whole body relax. Notice if relaxation and tension are not just physical, but mental, emotional. Or in your breath. Is it tense or relaxed? Feel what's still tense in your body. And feel what's at ease in your body. The whole body at rest. And as you're ready, you can start to make your way to one side. If you have more time to rest this evening, you can stay on your back. And press yourself up to a seat. If you're on your back, just bring one hand to your heart. Thank you all for practicing on this hot, sticky Wednesday. Thank your body for coming to your yoga mat. Namaste.